Look at the motorhome. Jenson Button giving his little press conference, the same motorhome we spoke to Eric Boulier a little bit earlier. Well, I'll tell you about their time. Jenson Button was 5th quickest today on a 1:25.1, only 1.9 seconds off the ultimate pace with 121 laps, and that's what you get when you do a race simulation. So very solid day for McLaren. They had a suspension problem which kept them in the garage early doors, but otherwise it's been pretty good. Just to set the scene down here, Jenson's talking. We've got Family Alonso in the early seat down here, just listening to what's going on. And then the left, look, we've got Mr. Arai in the doorway. See, Simon? He's still here. Look, there he is. Oh, he's disappeared. Did you miss him? You missed Mr. Arai. He ducked out of the way. Mr. Arai is still here as he hands over to Mr. Yasugawa here, just having a cup of tea. Yeah, Yasuhisa Arai is still at the circuit. Right, careful as you come out. And we will make our way out of McLaren. But they shouldn't be too secretive, because it's actually a good day for McLaren Honda. Do I need to pull that? There we go. That's better. 5th quickest. And yeah, that's it. Right, Manor. And a little problem kept them in the garage early on and just before lunchtime. But they managed to get out, did Pascal Wehrlein for the 10th quickest time, and 79 laps, a 1:27.0. And that fastest, the 1:27.0, was on the soft, compares quite well to Rio Haryanto, whose quickest was a 1:27 yesterday, 1:27.6 on the mediums. So Haryanto, with pretty much the offset we're expecting, medium to soft. So is that Haryanto actually getting his, there's the ever-smiling Fred Vasseur there on his phone. Is that Haryanto really getting down some respectable times in his manner? Well, I think it is. So anyway, it's pretty good. And okay, I mean, they were 10th quickest, 3 seconds off the pace, but still, that is an improvement. And you sense they're not too disappointed at all going up into the motorhome. There is the man himself, the fan of Justin Bieber, who we featured on Know Your Driver a little earlier in the weekend. And look, there's Craig Slater working very hard. Who are we waiting for? Who are we waiting for, Craig?
We are waiting for Kevin Magnussen, yeah. We spoke to yesterday, but who's gone along pretty well today again.
He has.
I just wonder what his benchmark is for the season, what team they think they can tag along behind and maybe look to get close to. Presumably Red Bull, maybe, I suppose, with the same power unit. Well,
yeah, I mean, they'll be back at the, thank you, Craig, they'll be back at the end of the midfield. We looked at the midfield a little bit earlier. Careful who you clonk into over there. Oh, it's Alex Young. You almost clonked into Alex Young. Sorry, Alex. You're all right. Not bad. How are you? If I had a spare hand, I'd shake your hand. Are you well?
Yes, very good, thanks.
Good. All right. Anything else going on?
No, nothing else is going on. I mean, obviously good to be here for pre-season testing. The cars pretty much look the same, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and the reliability's been pretty good, which is what you'd expect, I guess.
Yeah, well, we'll see. See what happens.
Me too. Watch Fox Sports, everybody. I said it so Fox you didn't have to.
Yeah.
All right. Who are you if you're watching us in Asia? You're not watching us in Asia. Sorry, slightly more random than usual. But actually, Magnussen was 3rd quickest today, K-Mag, a 1:23.9, 126 laps. A race simulation this afternoon on the Super Soft for that 23.9. But what Craig says is key in terms of the switch from Mercedes to Renault engine, because they are 7/10 behind Williams on the same tyre, our Renault. And that is after changing from the Mercedes to the Renault engine. So that has got to be part of it. Absolutely no doubt about it. Sauber, now they've got the fame, they've had similar problems on their power unit to Ferrari, and one of the many Ferrari customers who've also had problems on their power units. They're not saying it publicly because they can't. We do understand that that's the issue. I've asked Ferrari about it, and they're saying that no, we're not having any problems. The rumours in the paddock are that we've had 9 failures on various bits of Ferrari power units between Ferrari, between Sauber, between Haas, and between Toro Rosso. That's only a rumour. I don't know if it's true or not. I have spoken to Ferrari. I will do Ferrari now, and Ferrari say that. Let me just get it here. That's what testing is for. We do have some issues, but we haven't had any similar problems reoccur. There is not a fuel pump problem. There was a change of a fuel pump from Ferrari, but they do that. That is part of testing when they try and push the boundaries and find out which fuel pumps are best. We do know that Ferrari did change their fuel tank overnight last night to this morning, which is unusual and not something you really want to do, the teams really want to do in the field, because it's a very fiddly thing to do, changing the ATL fuel tank. There's Maurizio Arrivabene just going in to his office upstairs in the little motorhome here. So I do know that for a fact. They did change their fuel tank. But listen, it's 9 days before the cars fly away. Sorry, it's 9 days before personnel fly away to Australia, and it's a week before the first of the air freight and the cars start going to Australia. So if, and I'm saying a big if, Ferrari do have some kind of problem with their power units throughout all the teams, then they haven't got long to get it fixed. Let's just leave it at that. As for Ferrari, they did with Sebastian Vettel fourth quickest today, a 1:24.6, 151 laps. Wow, so they've certainly sorted out their fuel system reliability. Just to quickly finish off on Sauber, Marcus Ericsson caused a red flag at the end when a wheel fell off his Sauber, somewhat unexplained for some reason. We thought that he'd spun, but in fact I did confirm that he did lost a wheel did indeed come off. They've got a new chief engineer at Sauber. Where are they? Back down there. His name's Tim Malyon, and he's from Red Bull. But he's taken over from Gianpaolo Dallara, who's gone off and doing something else in the engineering world now. How am I doing for time? Okay, look, carry on. Now who's next? Force India, we've already heard from Bob Fernley. There he is, just disappearing back to his office. And Sergio Perez was, what was he today? He was 8th quickest on 128 laps on a 1:25.5. And that is pretty solid. Perez himself said, sorry, I'm just juggling two things here. He says, I want to believe that we will go to Melbourne in the same positions where we were left off in Abu Dhabi. And that's a common refrain, isn't it? It looks like we're going to go to Abu Dhabi and go to Melbourne, and everyone's going to be exactly the same position as they were in Abu Dhabi. But they were sort of 4th, 5th, 6th position in the race in Abu Dhabi. So that's very, very solid for Force India. As for what I was asking Bob Fernley about Diageo and about Vijay still running the team, well, there is this dispute. Diageo, the drinks company, appear to have bought out, if we're to believe what we read, Vijay Mallya and his concern in United Spirits, which was Vijay's company. There is a suspicion that Diageo actually, as part of security for some sort of financial shenanigans, own the Force India team. They're certainly still sponsored by that vodka brand that you can see on the back of that guy's shirt, the Russian vodka brand, which is owned by Diageo. So there's obviously still some sort of arrangement left, sponsorship or otherwise. But anyway, that's the background for those stories. Williams, Bottas was quickest, as we've just heard, 108 laps, 1:23.2. And he was doing some long runs and then some aero work and then some short runs. On the short run with the super soft tyre, it was the 23.26, but on the soft tyre, it was a 24.0, and it was slower. It was about 0.4 seconds, the Williams, per lap, slower than Hamilton on the same tyre. So that's where we seem to be. That's kind of where we started in testing, wasn't it? Saying that Williams seemed to be sort of half a second a lap to 0.4 to 0.5 seconds per lap slower than Mercedes, which is pretty much where they were last year. It seems to be pretty much where they are this year. Let's just see what the mood is inside Mercedes while I tell you what they did. And there's Keke Rosberg, who's turned up. We've had a rash of VIPs. We've had Dietrich Mateschitz, the co-owner of Red Bull, who's turned up here today. Keke Rosberg is here supporting his lad. And Hamilton was second on 1:23.6, 73 laps, and Rosberg was 9th on 91 laps, 1:26.2. So today Rosberg was doing the race simulation that Hamilton did yesterday and managed that very successfully. And today Hamilton was doing the qualifying simulation that Rosberg did yesterday. And the difference is that Lewis was 0.4 seconds slower than Rosberg on the medium tyre and 0.6 seconds slower than Rosberg on the soft tyre. Lewis did say, you might have just heard it, that there is a reason for that. We don't know what that is. Were they running heavier fuel? Was Lewis running heavier fuel? Or is the reason for that Rosberg is simply faster around here, which he has been recently, in recent years, hasn't he, than Lewis Hamilton? Intriguing, isn't it? I'm not going to come to any sort of conclusions on that particularly, but anyway, it's a 3-stop race that Rosberg did. So that gives you some clue as to what the strategies are going to be. I think we're going to have one more stop per race. Although 3 stops fairly standard around here now and again. This is Lewis's motorhome. Nice, isn't it? All right, Toro Rosso, yeah, very solid day for them. The most laps, I think, out of anybody on 166. That is true for Carlos Sainz. It was 7th quickest and on a 25.3. So there's clearly reliable. They're making good progress and everything is fine, which leads us to Red Bull. And they did pit stop practice. They did 25 pit stops early this morning, which was really some feat. And they seem to have got them as quick as they always do. Christian Horner was on the pit wall timing them, and he seemed very happy with progress. We heard from Daniel Ricciardo. He was 135 laps and a 125.2. So that's good progress for Red Bull. And, well, engine allowing, they do go to Melbourne. They're ready to go to Melbourne in not bad shape. I'm just wondering what everybody here is waiting around for. I don't know. What are we all waiting around for?
The drivers in there.
Oh, yes. Oh, this is about...
Waiting.
There we go. Oh, Si, off you go. Fill your boots, son. Right. Thank you, sir, for informing me. I knew this was happening. This was the, obviously, this is to discuss the new qualifying. This was to discuss the new qualifying situation. And you could say that they couldn't organise a you-know-what in a you-know-what. But it seems that we're edging towards some sort of compromise where Q1 and Q2 will be run along this idea of let's have a quick knockout with everybody and the slowest driver gets eliminated, and then Q3 will be as normal as we're all expected, because everyone thought it wouldn't work, because when we get to Q3 it's all going to be slightly odd, and then it will be a massive anticlimax when you just have the second fastest person and the fastest person. The fastest person wouldn't really sort of celebrate with a final shootout lap. He'd just sort of trundle around. But anyway, they're all sort of discussing what they think. And I don't know, Simon, what do you think? Who looks most impressed and who looks least impressed? Can you see Kimi at the end of the table there? He sort of doesn't look like... he looks, to me, like he's a bit... Simon, just to the left of you. Here, just to the left of you. Oh, you can see him. He looks like he's sort of taking it all in. Anyway. Right. That's it. We will let you know the outcome of this tomorrow. Thanks for watching.